Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right, man. Thank you all. I love you. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for helping to continue to build the worldwide movement, peace, love, respect, man. Um, so I wanted to touch a little bit more on the video I was recording earlier uh, on human tech merge, right? Um, so yeah, unfortunately, as is symptomatic of technological advancement absent spiritual maturity, um, you have all sorts of efforts to align with tech that are not of the most high vibrational frequency nature. All right. Um, I kind of got into that a little bit, right, in the previous video. But there's a lot of examples of that, you know, or all in my opinion, of course. Um, but do your own research and see where you are on this, right? Um, in general, I think, as is symptomatic of having a civilization where you're starting to see, and actually likely have we have seen for quite a while, um, examples of technological advancement absent spiritual maturity to go along with it. Certainly, I would say that that is the case in the development of the current version of AI, and I'll be doing a video um, later on what future generation AI would look like with more spiritually mature intentions going into the development of it, and how it can actually be something um, wonderfully beneficial for humanity going forward. Um, but yeah, when you have that, right, an absence of spiritual maturity um, in the development of something's, a technology, then you have applications that are symptomatic of that. And there will be examples of usage of that technology or application of that technology, um, or different ways that that technology branches off into other things that um, may not be of the most high vibrational frequency intent, um, the way that it actually manifests or come to fruition, and the impact, both short term and long term on humanity individually and collectively, right? Um, Ponder some things that are happening now, and I know a lot of you may not necessarily have the time to sort of keep up with the latest technological advancements, but they are numerous and they are vast. They're deep, right? I don't know how you all feel about. I believe Neuralink, it's called, that is being developed by Elon Musk and his companies. Um, Much of what Elon, in my opinion, embarks into seems to have at least initial good intent, right? So I'm going to assume that with this as well. However, again, folks, there's that thinking, right? And this is what is symptomatic of where mentally this agenda and this paradigm that the socially economic elite have had us all, for lack of a better word, swathering in for for far too long, right? For eons. And it plays and has played a very impactful part on the development of humanity's psyche, right? And one of the symptoms of that is the way we view ourselves, right? And the way we view a means of bettering ourselves. Um, as I'll talk about later, and going into the development of AI, many of the world's, I don't like disparaging terms, um, so I'll try to find a different way to say it. Technologically aligned people, right? There are people who align themselves and have done so from childhood with technology, right? Um, they become really into technology throughout their lives, and many of them become the kind of people who develop technology, right? Because of that. And these that type of individual has a proclivity to really lean toward humanity, viewing man as a man or woman, woman. We put that masculine ahead of the female too often, right? We need to have equality. Um, View humanity as very flawed, right? And in general, quite often are not big fans of humanity, right? And sometimes you understand that it, in fact, oftentimes you understand that that has its roots in their childhood, right? Where maybe they were the victims of bullying or just had a difficult time um, socially and found a more comfortable world in technology, right? Often in computers and the like. Um, and I don't fault them for that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But that does create a certain mindset that can be a bit anti-human, right? And really views man or humanity, excuse me, um, as very flawed and not as necessarily on a not always on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, not necessarily their friend, right? And again, remember I told you that in that mindset, in that with that kind of a developing psyche early on in life, I think that sort of a person finds friendship and even admiration. Okay, now here's where we need to start to understand the psychology of it a little bit. They actually start to, because when you're looking, when you're young, everyone's looking on some level to find things or people that they can look up to or admire, right? Um, and I would say that often in that sort of um, developing psyche, right, a person who's already beginning to be just a little bit, you know, anti-human, right, as they're developing, where they can't find friends in people, they'll find friends in their computer and their technology, right? So, doesn't it actually make sense for them to want to rush to create a really advanced AI that they can communicate with intelligently and ultimately be friends with? Think about that. And the only reason I'm delving into the psychology of it in that way is because we need to understand that relationship, that rapport, as it relates to the development of these technologies, right? Um, so they go into that development already seeing humanity as flawed and having a certain admiration for artificial, right? We can make that, we can equate their love for technology, right? And on some level, it does develop into a love, right? We can equate that love for technology with a love essentially for artificial, because, of course, technology is artificial, at least the way that we develop technologies. We could have a myriad of natural technologies that we could be developing that unfortunately we are not, and most certainly spiritual technologies that some of us utilize currently, and many of us will soon do so more and more. But for now, and relating to those who are big in the development of technology now, right, in our society, many of them have that kind of a mindset. And with that mindset, and with their viewing of humanity as so flawed, right, and as you know, often unintelligent and unsuitable even to really conversate with and commune with and form an intelligent relationship with, right? And that's what many of these people are starving for. Um, because again, you're talking about often very brilliant people, but people who have a difficult time making the human connection. So they want connection, they just don't want to sacrifice their intelligence or their intelligent dialogue, or and I don't blame them for that. I really don't. It's um, one of the things about our old paradigm, I'll label, that I feel needs changing, right? We're looking at the public school systems and what they've become, and imagine what they would be for someone like that, right? Someone with that sort of a mentality. Um, so yeah. Anyway, as it relates to the development of technology, um, this person would view human advancement as becoming more like what they already admire, the artificial, right? They look at the human body and they see flaws and limitations. hence the robotic body. They look at the human mind or intelligence, and they see limitation, hence AI. And in all of that, on some level, quite often they gain a friend, right? This is psychologically where it plays into the development. What I'm posing is that, quite honestly, humanity should be moving in a different direction in terms of our development, not toward the artificial, but toward the natural. We should be utilizing much more greatly our connection with the planet, our connection with the natural energies in and around us, right? Our connection with each other, right? And really understanding more about what a human being actually is. We don't even quite we've got so far to go in just understanding our own physical bodies, with so much more that remains unknown about what a human being actually is, what our full capability is and potential is. Remember, folks, most of us are walking around only exhibiting right around 30% of our DNA's potential efficacy, right? So we don't even actually know what a human being looks like, honestly, unless, of course, you take a look at the masters who have walked the planet and given us examples of much, much higher DNA efficacy, right? Okay. So, what I'm proposing is, rather than us looking to, you know, expand ourselves, and Neuralink is certainly not the only effort to expand ourselves or better ourselves artificially rather than naturally. You know, folks, there are all sorts of things going on that maybe many of you may not be aware of, like, you know, technology where they're developing artificial wombs, right? For children to gestate in. Okay. Um, I mean, it goes as far as actually mapping consciousness, right? Um, it's going as far as actually downloading an individual's consciousness so that it can be sort of rebooted up into a different vessel, whether that be a clone of some sort or whatever you want to speculate that to be or research that to be. True that. um, but yeah, no, the technology is very real, right? And is occurring right now. That's not something down the line. That's happening right now. All these things are happening now. Folks, we're more like moving toward being like the Borg of Star Trek than we're looking to better ourselves naturally. To me, it makes no sense. Only being 30% or so of what we're actually supposed to be, why would we set off in improving ourselves externally, artificially, when internally we have yet so much to grow, so far to go, and so much to understand about ourselves naturally? Um, so, yeah, in my estimation, all that is sort of going in the wrong direction as a result or symptom of um, the absence of spiritual maturity with that technology, which would and is causing us to seek to merge with the tech rather than use the tech or design the tech as a tool for our benefit, right? Think about it. You know, 50 years ago, would you have thought that you should just merge with a hammer? Just go right on ahead and cut you're a carpenter, and to be more efficient, you just go ahead and cut a hand off and take a hammer and shove it down in that stump and tape that up with some duct tape. Boom, you ready to roll. You're a more efficient carpenter, right? You've just merged with that tool. Come on, folks. It's not that much different. We don't need to merge with technology for it to be a useful tool externally, right? We do not need to merge physically and internally with technology in order for it to be a useful tool externally. Think about that. All right, folks. Um, in the comments, if you have some thoughts or you like to expound on this a little bit or build on this subject a little bit more, feel free to drop that, right? And I'll try to make sure I check it out. I'll be looking for it in the next couple of days. Because I feel like this is a subject we're going to have to continue to revisit, right? Um, like I said, advancements are every day in the world of science and technology. And if we're heading in the wrong direction with that development, then we got to make sure we're not fulfilling that saying, right? That technological advancement, absent spiritual maturity, will lead to self-destruction. Think about that. All right. Man, I love you all. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and let's really make sure that we share this information with one another, right? Knowledge, information is for us to pass to one another, right? And in doing so, we spread wisdom. A little something I thought I'd tack on at the end. Man, I love you all. Please, please, let's continue to build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq, I'm out.